Welcome back to Controversial Conversations.
Conversation.
I'm your host.
Forced.
Same thing, it really doesn't
It's not
matter.
the
It
same.
really
It's not
does
the
not
same.
matter.
Anyway,
Okay,
I,
we don't have one conversation. We have multiple. But anyway, so I'm your host Shreyas Kota, and joined with me are Tarun Menon and Rahul Harikumar. So, Rahul, do you want to start us off today?
You just started us off. Anyway, I want to
yeah,
know why you sounded like a news anchor.
Like because I have no idea actually. It's just what I do. This is how I be.
Okay, cool.
so uh, on today's menu, we have dark topics, very dark topics. Sure.
The return of the paranormal shit.
I wouldn't call it a
I
topic.
mean,
We
not
spoke about
shit. It's
one topic. It's probably the most interesting thing we've spoken about in a while.
Really? Are you
Probably,
saying the
I
rest of
love
the things were
paranormal stuff, man.
disinteresting?
maybe.
Anyway,
Anyway, Shiz,
Yeah,
have you ever been in a cult?
have you ever been in a
I
cult?
have not been in a cult unless you count unless you count my college as a cult. Then no, I've not been in a cult.
Are you sure you're not a vegan?
I am not a vegan. Definitely not.
Okay.
Like seriously, like my dad has tried veganism multiple times. It has never worked out. Okay, we just love the chicken too much.
Why
Fair
did you
enough.
bother trying it
Fair
then?
enough.
Like, no, so like he goes vegan for like what 2 weeks, and then he'll order in chicken. It'll be like cheat day, and then every single day he'll start ordering chicken again.
I mean, makes sense, man.
So
You gotta enjoy your
No, but
chicken.
why even bother attempting to be vegan? Is it for the planet?
I mean, supposedly being vegan is very healthy, especially if you're older. But I don't know. I never really researched veganism.
I
So,
don't know either. Anyway,
oh yeah,
No,
and
no, no, no. I
also like
think.
the industries are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So
Okay. That's the main reason, I guess, and animal cruelty and
yeah,
whatnot. But I think you can be
yeah,
healthy while being vegan. I don't think being vegan in and of itself is a characteristic of being healthy.
yeah, definitely. Like I think the most healthy people are not vegan.
Yeah,
Actually,
I mean, there's
like
a lot of full sources when it comes to non-veg, right? Like much better
yeah,
it's
macros and
easier
stuff.
to get
non-veg
your
is
protein
like
intakes. That's all it is.
yeah, yeah. Non-veg is like one of the best and easiest ways to get protein.
And some of the
Like otherwise, you
healthiest
have
ways
to
to
get
get
protein
fat.
from
Hey, no, like
yeah,
legitimately, the
true.
best way to get fat is from
Yeah,
non-veg itself.
no, I know, I get it. It's just funny to see healthy and fat being put in the same sentence like that.
I think it just means the macro, like fats, literal
Yeah.
fats.
Yeah, the fats, the carbohydrates, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know. But
Anyway,
anyway, so we were talking about
cults.
cults. So yeah, so veganism, I wouldn't like. I can see why it's like sort of culty because like vegans online are absolutely
Before we start out,
culty.
what exactly is a cult? What
I'm,
do
I'm
they
going to
call
read out a definition of a cult:
from
a
Webster's
system of
dictionary?
religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. Wouldn't that make Christianity a cult?
I think there's fine lines
So
between a cult and a religion.
yeah,
The
between religion
definition is
and
pretty
cult.
much
So,
just a religion.
so I think like a cult would probably be like fanatical devotion, like you just worship one person or one thing. As
Maybe
in
it's like an
worship, as in like
obsessive
literally just
devotion.
yeah, obsessive, exactly. Religion is like I call myself Hindu, but like I don't go and pray in temples every single day. So I'm not obsessed with the gods. I just pray to them whenever I have to pass in an examination.
I
I don't
think
know.
That kind of
a
thing.
radical form of religion is a cult, right?
Yeah.
You just use a
So
fancy
I don't
word.
know,
That's what you gotta do, man. You gotta
like
fancy
I
it up
don't know if
sometimes.
I don't know if I should name drop because some of these cults are like incredibly uh, criminal. But like you know Scientology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Scientology is like a proper cult. Like they've got fucking Tom Cruise in it, and apparently they've got like a whole bunch of big name actors.
So
I
wait,
can't name any of them right now, but
what is Scientology? I've only heard
I
of it.
don't know what it is. I don't know what it is
So you just
actually.
know that
Let me
Tom
look
Cruise
it
is
up.
in it.
But yeah, I just know that Tom Cruise is in it, and I know that it's like some kind of religion kind of thing. Uh,
Scientologists believe that by undergoing a series of classes and teachings, people can free themselves of their human form and reclaim their true selves. Are you sure Tom Cruise is a part of that? I don't know. He doesn't
oh,
seem
he's
the
definitely
type
he's like
in Mission Impossible and shit.
no, he's a very very high ranking member of it. So like I've
And
heard stories that apparently like during the filmings of like the multiple movies he's been in, he used to try and get like crew members and all to become Scientologists with him.
but to be
I
absolutely
think
fair, Scientology is like, I'd say, an admissible cult, right? Like not that other cults aren't admissible, but it's an admissible cult because it's not a very radical belief, is it?
I mean it's not the like with Scientology, it's not the fact it has radical beliefs. It's the fact that it's just very very shady and all. Like nobody, barely anybody ever leaves that cult because if they do, then like they suffer threats to their
I
life.
have a question. I have a very very controversial question. Um,
Okay.
Yeah,
would
what's
the
up?
would the Ku Klux Klan count as a cult?
Yeah, of course it is. Right?
Yeah,
I
I guess so.
I guess it's called, yeah.
I mean,
It's
The
based. I mean,
figure being racism.
yeah. It's based on the hatred for a group of people, right?
Yeah, it is a cult. It probably is. That's probably exactly how you define it. A
yeah,
clan, but it's a
yeah, I'm
cult.
pretty sure it's a cult. Yeah.
Possibly one of the
So
biggest cults to ever exist, then, huh?
definitely, like, so actually, like, I want to talk about specifically about the bad side of cults. So, like, in Scientology also. So the leader of Scientology, his wife spoke up against him or like against Scientology once in what 2000. I don't even know actually. When was this? It was like early 2000s, I believe. But basically, she spoke up against him, and since then, she has not been heard of. Like, she
What?
has not been seen in public. She has not been like, she's not been online. She's not said any statements, nothing. Everybody thinks she's dead. Like, she most likely is dead. She probably got killed by Scientologists. But then everybody in the Scientology, like, the high positions of Scientology, everybody's saying she's alive and she's just like chilling or
They
something
like
like that.
brush it under.
Yeah, exactly.
It's strange
Yeah,
though. Like
so yeah,
most of
so
the stories I've seen
she's
about cults, it's just people that don't even know they're in a cult. At least the ones I've read. So like they join it thinking it's something else, and by the time they like either they get into it later or they just find out that they don't want to be there.
yeah. I mean, I've heard about Mormonism. I don't know much about Mormonism to be honest, but like I've heard it's a very culty kind of thing, and people like they're raised in it and they don't know it's a cult. They just figure it out later, like once they realize that their parents are crazy or something like that.
Why do they
So
all sound
yeah,
so
so
similar? Like, I looked at Mormonism, I looked at Scientology, and just I don't know,
I
can't
mean,
distinguish.
so
there is a
Shelley
lot more.
Miscavige.
Wait, that's a name?
So
The one
the
who disappeared?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, she was last seen in public in August 2007. So she has not like been in public in any way, not even online. She's pretty much like gone, vanished from the earth.
So, I mean,
So
the you guys talked about how cults are similar, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
So, I mean, other than the fact that they're all usually quite radical, um, we do have some cults that are really, really quite out of their way insane, right? So, you know how you said Scientology? It's one of the more like I said, admissible, less radical, less.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the more known you are, the less. How do you even put it? Cultish you can be, right? Because that kind of takes away from being a cult.
At least the more dangerous ones, yeah.
Yeah, the most dangerous ones. So, you guys have heard of the icebergs, right? Where you go deeper in the iceberg and the more crazy shit stuff happens, or that's how they explain it, right? That's how they explain some topics.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
was just
like
taking a look at
Oh yeah.
a referential thing.
the referential iceberg, and it's
Mm.
pretty interesting
Yeah, tip
because
of the iceberg, and you
yeah.
go deeper.
So
Like it
it's
gets
pretty
worse and worse.
interesting
That kind of thing.
because I was by chance actually watching one of Wendy Goon's videos. So he's a guy who explains icebergs all the time, right? So I just put him on and play Forza. It's pretty fun. It's a fun pastime. His videos are like hour and a half long. So that's a great way to pass time. So he explained cults, right? And I listened to it and I just realized that I listened to it. And some of the stuff on the bottom rings was absolutely insane. I remember I stopped playing Forza and got back to the video just to watch the rest of it, right? There's
Yeah,
some
cults are
absolutely
crazy.
graphical stuff that he described that I cannot point out here. That I don't know. It seemed like something no human would do. And
Or like sacrifices and shit. That kind of stuff.
no. But come on, man. Sacrifices? Really? You think that's what I'm talking about?
What's worse than a sacrifice? Or torture?
Absolute torture, right? So I was just looking at. See, I can't even describe it to you right now, because it got pretty detailed and mostly because I forgot most of it. But thank God I forgot most of it. But putting people's bodies to the extreme is one thing.
Yeah.
Is one thing I can tell you.
Yeah.
Not letting them die, okay? Because that's in comparison relieving them of their misery, right? So putting people's bodies to the extreme and then putting people's psychological beliefs to the extreme, that can be equally like horrifying, right?
Yeah, mental
Like,
health,
yeah,
physical
mental
health. Yeah.
torture. Yeah, so mental torture was at an extreme as well. So I was taking a look at the iceberg, and I think we should talk about some of the cults on the bottom of the ring. What do you guys think?
I'd love to if I knew any.
So there's a few here: the Aetherius
So
Society, the Prince Philip movement, the Universe People, and hear me out: Cthulhu cult worship.
Ooh. Yeah, that must be pretty fucking
yeah,
insane.
I've heard like very little about the Prince Philip thing.
What is
So
it?
apparently there's like this cult in Africa that believes Prince Philip is like God sent down or something like that.
Could you repeat?
Yeah, what do you say?
There's a cult in Africa who believes that Prince Philip
Yeah.
was God sent down or something.
Why does it cut out exactly when you're explaining it? It's pretty
That,
fucking creepy.
that's yeah, a bit of alarm there. Second time.
Say it one more time, Shreyas, and if it doesn't come out this time as well, we just move on.
Yeah, it means it's a forbidden. Shit.
I
Okay,
think,
there is a cult in Africa called the Prince Philip cult.
Okay.
yeah.
So as far as I know,
Oh my
What
god.
the hell, man?
they
It's actually insane.
That's pretty creepy. That's pretty creepy.
We had 3 times in a row at the exact same spot. Yeah, they're onto you.
They're onto you, bro. I'm sorry, Shays, but if you don't live past tomorrow or something,
Your time is up. Let's just not try that. Tarun, if you want to explain the universe people, maybe.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about the Prince Philip movement, right? Because I find it a bit funny, honestly. So the Prince Philip movement is a religious sect followed by the custom people around the village of Yahonan and Yakel on the southern island of Tana in Vanuatu. Now that's a lot of African names, but quite essentially, they worship Prince Philip, right? They consider him as their god, and their religion is based. I mean, their cult is based on the fact that Prince Philip is God. I cannot imagine what the past month would have been like for them, right?
Yeah.
So,
No, but how do you come to that though? Like, surely there's something to believe.
ayo,
Yeah.
Shreyas.
Shreyas is.
Is
It's only a matter of time, Shreyas. It's only a matter of time.
They've sabotaged this internet, haven't they?
Severed any tie with Discord as well.
Yeah. So that if he's gonna come back, that would be great.
Yeah, just leave and join again. Meanwhile, we'll
Alright.
talk about Prince Philip.
So I mean, they must have arrived at it due to some act of his, for sure. Like he must have done something for them. Apparently, he visited them in 2007, and that was a big part of. Like they have hundreds of pictures from the time, right?
Mm.
And they worship those pictures as well. Some of these pictures are pretty fucking pretty darn crazy. You should take a look at them. It's
We'll just overlay them on the video.
yeah, and they celebrated the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle like on a grand scale.
That's pretty wholesome.
Yeah, it is pretty wholesome. I don't see why they are on the bottom of the.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound that exactly. It doesn't sound that crazy.
I
What's
have a
deep
feeling
below?
Okay,
there
I
must be
think
a
this
reason.
app is fucked.
Nah, man, it's just Prince Philip cult members
It's
doing
his
their
it's
job.
his ghost calling to me from the grave.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, Prince Philip, we were just talking about. Do you have anything to add to it? Ooh.
I mean, as far as I know, like they just worship him
Yeah.
as a god. Like I don't know much anything else after that.
No, it's crazy because you see people worshipping Satan and Cthulhu. Like, I get Cthulhu's not even real. I mean, as far as we know,
Yeah, I mean,
he's a character. I mean, he's not a character. He's an entity from H.P. Lovecraft. So I
yeah.
don't see how people believe in it.
So
I,
one horrifying thing, you were talking about like horrifying cults and all. So this isn't like as bad as extreme torture or whatever, but it's really bad. Still pretty bad. So this was a while ago, I think like the 1980s or so. So there was this cult in Jonestown in USA. Okay.
yeah.
So basically, what happened was like remember the exact I don't remember what happens in the cult, like what they believe in all. But the most famous incident is uh, all of every single member of the cult committed suicide at the same time.
what?
Yeah. So basically, what happened was the leader of the cult, I think his name was Jones. He I think the U.S. government like caught on to his illegal actions and all, and they were coming to arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
So he convinced all he took a large vat of Kool-Aid and he mixed poison in it, and he convinced all the cult members to drink the Kool-Aid,
Yeah,
including
Crazy,
that's where
man.
the don't
How
drink the
far they go?
Kool-Aid things come from,
yeah,
right?
that's where the term comes from. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, is that actually
So
where it comes from?
that is actually where it comes from because
Really?
he poisoned the Kool-Aid. And, you can still see pictures online. There's an aerial view of the area. There's hundreds of dead bodies.
That's sad. I used to
And
love Kool-Aid.
I mean, it's the Kool-Aid you drink is not going to be poisoned. I'm pretty sure, but just to
You
be
never know.
safe. But anyway, so there have been audio recordings also of that time. So there were audio recordings of parents trying to force their children to drink the
Oh,
Kool-Aid, and you can literally hear the children screaming. It's so fucked up
because
Nah,
of the taste
man.
of the Kool-Aid or because of the poison?
because of the poison. I don't think Kool-Aid's that bad either. Come on.
So
That's pretty fucked.
you guys want to know the craziest cult in history?
What is it?
The
The
Epsilon
controversial
cult.
conversations.
TikTokers?
The Epsilon cult from GTA San Andreas.
I don't remember it.
Come on, man. Kiflom. It's
No, it
even there in
doesn't.
GTA 5.
I think I've heard of it in GTA 5.
Yeah,
It's there
it's
on the
there even on
websites
GTA
and all.
5. Yeah. So that was insane, right? So apparently there's this deep-rooted lore. I'm sorry if we're going past our usual thing here,
No, it doesn't matter, man.
but this is a pretty crazy story. You should hear it out. So we're what? We're about it's been about 16, 17 years since the game released, right?
It's been a long ass
It's
10
been
years.
17 years since the game released, 2004, right?
He's talking about
Which?
San
Oh,
Andreas.
San
San
Andreas.
Andreas.
Yeah, sure.
It's been 17 years since the game released, and there's still some things we don't know about this Epsilon cult in GTA San Andreas. Not even 5, GTA San Andreas, right? So apparently, there's a rule of, there's a list of things that you can do including being in the right place at the right time and completing a whole set of objectives, stuff like getting a blue haircut and stuff like that, right? Dyeing your hair blue and
Mhm.
stuff in game. And if you're at the right place at the right time, you can see members of the
Okay.
Epsilon cult at a farm. Okay, hundreds of people have tried doing this. It's not been proven yet, but people have seen like glimpses of stuff, right?
Like what?
Like tractors moving around randomly and some cars that were there not being there as usual. And
Oh.
most importantly, the like there's this one farm in GTA San Andreas which has windows that are tinted blue, right? And that's the Epsilon cult's color.
Okay.
Okay, the windows are
Right.
tinted blue. People think it was a lighting error, but most people like they speculate, right? They speculate that it was meant to be an indication of the Epsilon cult and stuff like that. There is a farm on GTA San Andreas which does not have these tinted windows. But there was one
Mhm.
guy who completed all the objectives and went to that farm just to find blue tinted windows.
Is there anything else that like an Easter egg, or is it just the windows?
See, you will not believe the complexity of this to-do list, right? It's pretty insane. It's very, very in-depth. Okay? I don't
Okay.
remember it now, but I'm sure I could tell you guys about it at some point if I find it. But it's pretty insane. To think that Rockstar went as far to implement that Easter egg there, it's pretty crazy to think about, right? Because that list has about like 25 instructions or something. It's not a simple thing to finish, right? And it took people like 20-30 hours to do it. Just for that to be the Easter egg, I think there's something we're missing here.
But why though? Like, what is it a real cult?
The Epsilon,
confused.
no. The Epsilon cult is a cult in GTA San Andreas, right?
But it's not a real thing, right?
No, it's not a real thing. It's meant to be part of the GTA universe.
Hmm.
It's completely not related to cults, but it was extremely interesting. And if you guys want to go behind it, go be my guest.
I'll probably read about that. Yeah.
Let's get back to cults then.
Anyway, what else? What other cults are there? You were talking about the Cthulhu
Cthulhu worship, right?
believers. Yeah.
So
Have any of you like read about the H.P. Lovecraft mythos?
not really. I mean, there are a few cults that appear there, right? Like fictional cults.
I mean, they don't speak about the cults, but they speak about just the people that. Yeah, I mean, they are a cult technically. So it's just mainly about Cthulhu. The other ones are all way higher than Cthulhu. But Cthulhu is apparently resting, and when he awake, he's. They say that if you look at him, you go crazy. So human mind cannot comprehend and all that shit. So there's obviously people going to support him, thinking that they'll benefit from it and shit. So there's just like crazy people who believe Cthulhu is real.
It's pretty crazy because I'm at the site for the Cult of Cthulhu, and you can apparently buy a Bible of Cthulhu from here.
What is in the Bible of Cthulhu?
I'm not sure what the
Who-
Bible of Cthulhu is.
Who wrote in it?
The organization wrote it, like the whole thing.
What organization? The cult?
Yeah, the cult.
Oh,
It's by
it's a collection of philosophical essays, observations, and ceremonies.
yeah.
I've always been fascinated by the idea of Cthulhu. It's like this higher being that you can't even imagine, but he can just take over everything and destroy everything if he wanted to. It's pretty like you should if you haven't read the mythos, it's pretty interesting. Have you heard this channel called was it What If Life's Biggest Questions? That's what it's called.
Nah, is it?
It's pretty good. It's like they contemplate random shit like prehistoric animals still being alive, stuff like that. It's pretty fun. Oh, Shreyas, he still isn't back. Oh, no, he is.
No, he is back.
I just came back. But
Shreyas,
anyway, yeah.
what are your thoughts on Satanism?
Satanism. Okay. Uh, so Satanism, like I've heard like conflicting things about it. So Satan, like I've heard like two variations of it. So one is that Satanism is religion, like an anti-religion kind of thing, started by atheists in order to, help people out in the guise of serving Satan or something like that. Like it's supposed to be like a complete opposite of what Christianity is or something like that. That's one version I've heard. Second version is literally Satan worshippers.
I
So
think there's a paganism as well, right? Which is
Paganism. Have you guys seen the movie Midsummer?
no,
I've
I've
heard
not
of it,
seen
but
It's
like
a pretty
it's very
fucked up movie. Like, it's very. You know how modern day horror movies just rely on jump scares and there's nothing scary about them?
Mm-hmm.
This one is
yeah.
like a proper horror movie. It's just not really jump scares, but it's just very unsettling. And it's about these people who I think there is an island of some sort, and there's a pagan cult there, and they just. It's about the shit that goes down on the island. So it's
Okay.
like. They're very gruesome scenes of people getting thrown off, made to jump off cliffs, and then they smash their head in with hammers and
So
Oh
next up on
Uh,
jeez.
controversial conversation reviews movies, you know what's happening, right? We're gonna watch Midsummer.
I'd love to one.
Uh,
So paganism is like essentially, it's not as extreme as you'd think, right? It's not Satanism. It's just the non-belief of Christ, right? So it
Mhm.
could be Christianity, like it could be another form of Christianity or a form of pre-Christianity before, like they believe in events that happened before, apparently the birth of Christ, right? So they consider
Yeah.
that to be there was another coming of God essentially, right? Not Jesus.
Oh,
I mean, that's what paganism is. It's not really Satanism is completely
okay.
different.
So this paganism is basically Christianity except without Jesus.
Yeah, except without Jesus. Perfect.
Okay.
okay. I mean,
Makes
that's not. That
sense.
doesn't sound too bad.
It's not that crazy.
Yeah, but watch the movie Midsummer. It looks pretty damn bad in that. It's pretty fucked up.
It's like there's a bunch of crazy ass cults out there, man. So that that Jonestown thing was so like I've heard some of the recordings. It was like actually haunting
But the
because
actual recordings from the
yeah,
incident.
actual recordings.
Oh,
So like 200 people just killed themselves. Some of them by force. Some by force as in like they didn't kill themselves, the others killed them. And then they killed themselves. It's
crazy.
just really crazy to think about. Like how can someone believe in something so much that you're willing to kill yourself for it?
You'd
I
be
think
surprised. You'd be surprised.
I understand why people like some people believe in Satanism. Like I can see why people who believe in God could turn the other way. Like you've heard these stories and movies, they keep playing with the idea of, oh, I made a deal with the devil. He offered me
Yeah.
this if I, believe in him and shit like that. So
I
a lot of these people in these cults, they believe that God has not helped them enough. So why not try the other side? Like go to Satan instead.
Fair enough. I mean, I think
Fair
Satanism
fair
gives
enough.
you a much more grounded belief, right? Because see, a like if I believed in God, I would have to abide by certain rules, like a certain set of ideals and a certain set of expectations that are put on me to be in God's good books, essentially, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which is why churches have confessions and whatnot.
Yeah.
So whereas I see it's like having a bad friend. It's like having a friend who deals with fun things rather than always
Yeah.
focusing on productive things, right? See, you could follow Satanism and you'd be you have free access to the material world essentially, right? Like there's nothing to worry about when you're following Satanism.
You're
There's
saying it's
no
easier.
Yeah, not only is it easier, it's I think more fun. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, no,
It,
I get what
it
you mean.
depends on
It's
your
like
mental state. If you
also
find
like
killing people and doing shit like that fun, yeah.
Look at this. Yeah, perfect. The joy of excess. They're just regular people trying to squeeze the most out of life. They're just regular people having endless fun without the boundaries of religion.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's like atheism while still believing in something. Or better yet, strongly believing in fun. Or strongly believing in opposing opposing
so
ideals.
so like a lot of people they turn to Satanism or they turn against God because like what Rahul said, they think that God has wronged them or something like that. And I mean if you look at the world nowadays, like there's a lot going on, and not a, and like a majority of it is not good things. So like COVID, and there's a bunch of bunch of wars and shit, conflicts and shit going on all around the world. And like I can see, you can see why people start thinking that God isn't,
Doing much.
all that.
Oh, it's like the common
Yeah,
phrase, like, if there was a god, would he let this happen?
yeah, exactly. And like if you look at some of the older religions like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Egyptian mythology, and all, their gods are not exactly very nice people. Like Zeus just straight up like rapes almost every woman he meets,
Hmm.
and
They just didn't
like
have Satan. Everything bad manifested in Satan. That's Satanism, right? So I mean, it
yeah,
makes sense.
and like it's just interesting to me about like I don't know how to explain properly, but like it's interesting to me how people turn away from God because of that. Like not interesting, but I can see why people turn away from God because of
Yeah,
that.
isn't
Because God is, in their eyes, God is not being a very
good God.
godly person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe
is
it's people who've lost too much. Maybe they've lost a relative or they've lost their job and they have no hope. So they're like, what else can I lose? Just fuck it. I'll go.
no. Even
No.
yeah. The other side is even not even those who lost a lot. Those who just don't want to lose anything, right? Like,
Yeah,
if I'm
exactly.
losing it, why follow the ideals of God or a certain type of God?
And like if you keep hearing things like God is benevolent, God is loving and all, and you'll start to wonder like why isn't, if God is so loving, then why is he letting COVID happen, for example? Right. So I
That's
mean
what. Yeah.
I've heard justifications for God doing all those things.
Like what?
But
Why do we have COVID?
so
It's usually just testing,
so
isn't it? Just testing your will.
testing or will, yeah, but I think my favorite explanation is one, like I was talking to this one really religious dude, and he was saying that God is not perfect. Like God is loving and all, but unlike most religions claim to be, he's not a perfect being, and and he doesn't know how to solve it basically.
Hmm.
So I mean, this is becoming a very religious kind of talk. I'm not trying to
Not
convert anyone
really. I
into
mean, it's
not trying to convert anyone to God or anything
Nah,
like that.
it
I'm
kind
just
of
saying.
explains the existence of cults, right?
Yeah.
kind of. I
I
was listening to this one story. I mean, it's obviously fake. I mean, at least I think it's fake. It's about this guy who gets a call from a scammer. Okay. And so he's talking to the scammer, and eventually the scammer, he's just very calm. He doesn't seem like he's in like how usual scammers talk. And so he just out of the blue, he's just saying, he asks him where he's calling from, this guy just says, "I'm from hell." And so obviously this guy's confused. He thinks it's a joke. So he's asking him like, "That's a joke," and he starts playing around with him as well. And in the end, what the scammer says is like, "I was appointed by the devil because he wants to scam people so that their situation gets worse. Because those are the people who turn to crime and committing sins. So
Yeah.
he wants to
Yeah.
bring more of those people to hell. So it's like he's putting them in scenarios that he believes they will not come out of, just to bring them to hell. So it's similar to what you were saying with God testing people to see if they're good enough. It's just the other side of it.
I mean, apart from all the kind of, I don't know how do you put it, treating God as a person, right? That's what we're doing right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from all that, I think people's belief plays a really, really strong role in all this, right? The reason we think of God as a person is because of the strength of our belief. Like, I could believe in
Yeah.
something
Exactly.
so strong that I would make it a person with its own thoughts and feelings and its own, like how it would want to exact revenge on me or how it would want me to prosper, right? That's what we're doing with God. I mean, I don't mean to offend anybody who believes in God, but I think that's what we're doing with God. It's fair enough. Your belief
Yeah.
can be a pretty powerful tool at times, and that kind of directly explains a bit the existence of cults, doesn't it? They just want to believe in something that already exists, or something that might not exist, or they want to, like, they want to believe that it exists so badly that they
Yeah,
have
no,
to
I get
form
that.
their own cult for it, right? They don't want to believe in God. It's essentially a religion. It's just a group of beliefs coming together.
It's like when something bad happens, what is an atheist going to say? Like, other people might say, God, please help me out here. What is an atheist going
Science,
to
science, please help
say?
me out here.
But yeah,
Fucking
it's good to have some sort of belief, right? And that
exactly.
kind of sprouts cults.
Mm.
That's what. So I think like a lot of people they like say that religion was started because of money making and all, but and I agree that religion right now as it stands, a lot of it is just money making. So there's this there's this like church in Texas. So it is massive. It is like I don't know how many acres, but it's like huge. And the guy who runs it, his name is Joel Osteen or something like that. He's a multi-millionaire. Okay, he's supposed to be a pastor, but he's basically just using religion for money, right? But I think religion, like it started off as just people wanting to explain why some things happen.
Mhm.
So, for example, if lightning hit a tree, and like you don't know about like ions in the clouds and all that bullshit, right? You
Yeah.
just think that something in the sky decide they don't like this tree and they decide to strike it down.
It's a
And
scapegoat,
that's
isn't it?
how, yeah, that's how religions are formed. So, and
So
the thing nice, like the thing I really like about religions is that everybody has their own beliefs. So, like I was talking about earlier, how some people believe that God is not perfect. He's as flawed as us. Just he has the power to create people, I guess, or something. And then there's people who think that God is perfect, and this is all a test, something like that. So beliefs, like religion and beliefs, are just they're very malleable. I think, like they're very flexible. So who's to say that? Like now we know the reason why lightning strikes things. It's because of ions in the clouds and all that bullshit. But who's to say that God didn't manipulate those ions, right?
True. There's nothing stopping people from believing it.
I do have a
Yeah.
question though. Beliefs aside, what makes a person want to believe in something so strongly that they're willing to hurt other people to exact it, right?
I don't know.
That
Desperation.
is, yeah, that
We
is
just
just
kind
like,
of hope. Like I said, when something bad happens, you want something to look forward. You need something to like have some hope for. If there's nothing, in what are you gonna believe in?
True, but
and
there
also,
is a case of like the cults here, right? They don't exactly only believe in sometimes, okay? Well, like what I said, what you said, these are all believing in a sort of personification of something, right? Of some sort of like for example, take any religion, we have gods in them. So if they have cults, they have the Satanist cult or the paganism cult, something like that, right? But there are cults that believe in ideas, right? So I was just reading, there's a cult called the Freedomites who believed in communal living, nudity, and anarchy. So why do they believe in those things?
so I mean, I don't know about the Freedomites, like, but basically, like a lot of cults, they get, I don't want to say weak-minded, but very gullible people. They get very gullible people.
Gullible is probably a worse word to use.
You know what I mean, right?
People of very weak
People,
willpower, maybe.
People that are easily manipulated, maybe.
yeah, easily manipulated, yeah.
That is
So they
gullible,
get
isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not the word.
it is gullible. I mean, it's the same thing. But anyway, so they get all these people, and that's how they start the cult because these people they'll be manipulated by the main guy, and the main guy is usually a very charismatic kind of guy.
Yeah.
So they put all their trust and put all their faith behind this guy, and because like what's this guy is saying that he's bringing the answer to everything, and he probably does probably manipulates things so that these people actually believe that he's
That he
bringing
is
the
bringing
answer to
answers.
everything. And then it just forms like a cycle. So these people will get more people in, these people will get more people in, like that.
I
And
still don't understand how that relates to the concept of founding a cult on ideas. Like, it's like communism, isn't it? Like, having an idea so strong that you're willing to drag people in and fight for it.
See, the thing you have to understand that these aren't exactly normal people. Most people who are in these wild or unnecessary cults they don't think the way we do, pretty much.
yeah,
They
so
just like catch something and latch on to that idea. It's not really, they can't really explain every bit of it.
like I've been listening to some ex cult stories. These are people who didn't want to be in the cults, but they were forced to because of, parents or whatever. And the way they describe like their parents, for example, their parents who are in the cult, it sounds like they have a lot of, mental issues, like undiagnosed disorders and such stuff like that. So these are not like healthy people, mentally healthy people, I want to say.
I mean,
Yeah, I'd
end of
assume
the day
so.
though,
Why
it
would anyone
is.
want to be like into Satanism? I understand goth people, but Satanism is very different.
It is still admirable though that they believe in something so strongly. It's a thing that a lot of people can't do, to be honest. Like, I don't believe in anything so strongly that I would be willing to fight to the
I
death for
believe
it.
in chasing the bag.
You're not gonna fight to the death for chasing the bag. You'd have been a boxer by now then.
Okay, maybe, but
Anyway, I want to ask a question.
yeah.
So, do you guys believe in Satan, first of all? Do you believe Satan exists?
I,
Lucifer, the devil?
if I believe in Satan, then isn't Satan like a Christian thing?
Yeah, it's a very Christian thing.
Yeah.
So,
So I
no?
mean, I'm not a Christian, so I don't really believe in Satan.
Now, I believe
Yeah,
in the
but
idea of an antagonist to the protagonist, that is God.
so
Yeah.
you
Must
believe
be
there is
there.
something. Look, you don't have to say Satan. You can just say the devil. I don't know.
Heaven, like
I don't think the
heaven and
devil is.
hell.
I don't think the devil is a Christian ideal. It is technically, but everyone knows about the devil. Everyone speaks about it.
Yeah, I think
Heaven,
Like in
heaven
India,
and
they
hell,
just call it
basically.
something else.
bad gods we call asuras, don't we?
Yeah, asuras.
I think they're demons, but yes, same idea.
Bad gods do the same thing.
No, okay. So what I was gonna ask you is, since you initially said you don't believe in it much, would you sleep with a pentagram drawn on a wall in your room?
And yeah, I
You
would.
would?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it though, but if someone did it, I would not say no. Sleeping there.
You wouldn't mind at all? Let's say there's some psycho dude comes and draws a pentagram and starts chanting shit, inviting demons into your house. You'd be fine with it because you don't believe in it?
Oh no, I would not be fine with it because in that case, there's a psycho dude,
No,
and
no,
he's
the
a very
psycho's gone.
real person.
The psycho's gone.
See, I think the whole idea changes when you have someone that believes in something that strongly, right? Like, if a guy believes in Satan so badly, I'm sure he's not afraid to do bad stuff to me.
No, let's
Yeah,
assume he is gone. It's just that he did these things which claim that he's going to invite demons into your house.
No, I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with it. To be absolutely
yeah.
fair, I'd be fine with it. Because see, I mean, I'm sure most people do. I have pictures of gods in my houses. We have a nice little setup for the gods in our houses. Is constant good happening in my house? No.
Yeah, I mean, like, so to add on to that, like we like he said, we worship gods all the time. So like if I worship Ganesha, for example, if I pray to Ganesha one day, it's not like he'll come down and
Yeah,
gift me,
exactly.
right? So
Mm.
There's no reason
why
for the
would
devil
You
to come.
haven't obsessed over Satan as much. I mean, over Ganesha as much as Satanists have obsessed over the devil. You haven't sacrificed things. You probably haven't killed somebody for Satan to come into your life.
right?
Right,
But
but we've
like
done the
in
other end of
this
the
in
spectrum,
this
haven't we?
Have you?
in
No,
this
no,
Have you gone to an
hypothetical,
extreme to believe in God?
no, I have not, but I know people who have devoted their entire. I mean, there's so many monks, man. There's priests, right, who've devoted their entire life to the well-being of God, right?
that is actually an interesting question. Would you say like all these monks and all these priests are in a cult?
I
Because
see that becomes
they've
religion, doesn't
dedicated.
it?
Yeah, it's again religion.
Yeah, I mean, it is religion, but the thing is that
But there
Yeah,
are certain ones that, completely take to the extreme. They go meditate on mountains with no food.
I still
Yeah,
think
so
that's part
I'd
of
exactly.
say,
a religion.
I think when you take it to an extreme, it just goes past the religion
It's very
threshold.
cultish behavior, kind of.
No,
See,
but
there's
I
not much to
guess
differentiate between religion and cult, so it should be the extreme.
I do have an actual question though. Were the Nazis a cult?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I think they are.
No, the Nazis were not a cult.
Why
I
not?
think they were. I
Uh,
think they were.
because
I
see,
think
no,
they
they
were as
were
well.
no. So the Nazis were a political group, right? So a lot of the soldiers and all, they didn't even know about the death camps and all that stuff. And
True,
those
but
that
they had
did,
the common hatred toward, like, the common belief that Aryan was a superior race, right?
Yeah, they believed that the other race was inferior,
And that means
and they
automatically they're a
dedicated their
cult,
lives
right?
to. Yeah,
no, so not necessarily. So this is what I'm getting to. So like these. So what do you mean by Nazis? Do you mean like everybody who was part of the army, the German army in the World War II, or do you just mean that specific
Whoever
political
you'd
party?
call a Nazi, right? Like whoever would come to my, like, if you saw that person, you'd call him a Nazi. That kind of Nazi. Like you wouldn't
Right.
call
So
the like a low-ranking soldier. You wouldn't necessarily call them Nazi, would you? You would call them a German soldier. Yes, at the
so that's
time
the thing
period,
though.
yeah,
A
you
lot of
would call
people
them a
would call
Nazi,
him that. Yeah.
but I'm saying like those who perpetrated the beliefs. Yeah, that's much better. Those who perpetrated the beliefs.
Right. In that case, like I, it might be a cult.
They had
Like
very
I
cultish
don't.
behavior. Maybe they're
Yeah,
not a cult, yeah, but had very
they
cultish
had very
behavior.
cultish behavior, but like in this, in a sense, like Hitler was not the mastermind behind all this. He was just like the charismatic force. So like Hitler's lieutenants or whatever, however you pronounce it.
Lieutenants. We
Yeah.
say lieutenants here.
So Hitler's lieutenants like Goebbels,
it's
Goebbels and
irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Himmler. Yeah. No, so they were the ones who were like basically behind the whole Jews are bad thing. And they basically just tried to influence people. Um, basically, they just tried to influence the higher ranking officials and all that stuff. So I'm sure there were a bunch of people who actually believed in that. But also, I'm sure there were a lot of people who just thought that it's a job or something like that and didn't actually believe that Jews were subhuman. They just believed that uh, they're serving their country or something like that.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So,
Yeah, I'm
in
sure a lot
that
of them
sense,
were
I
that.
wouldn't call them a cult because I think I wouldn't call them a cult. They definitely had very cultish behavior, but it was more of like a political party, an extremist political party than a cult.
Fair enough. I mean, you kind of. There are very fine lines, right? Like,
Yeah.
a group of people with a common belief doesn't automatically become a cult. That would mean all Indians are part of the cult known as the Constitution, but we don't really do that, do we?
I mean, that would mean like if all of us had like if a group of people had the same beliefs and you call that a cult, then that would literally mean that we're all in small cults with our parents. So
No,
no,
okay, that's taken too far. What are we talking about
no,
again?
that's no, so that's what I'm saying. That's why we can't say that it's a cult if it's just a small belief and all that.
Anyway.
Extremist beliefs is what I think differentiates a cult from a group of people with common beliefs. Extremist behavior, extremist actions. I mean, you can think all you want, but unless you do something, I don't think you're in a cult, are you?
Yeah.
Eyes
Other
Wide Shut is a
recommendations?
great movie. There is a cult there that delves in weird sexual practices. Not weird, just different sexual practices.
Did you say Ice Age?
Eyes Wide Shut, not Ice Age.
Ice Age, sure, okay.
It's an interesting movie. It's one of Tom Cruise's weirder movies.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, that
Oh.
movie.
Tom Cruise, famous Scientologist.
Oh, I think that's
We
where
should-
his
we should
infatuation
start,
for cult started. I think that's where it started. That is one hell of a weird movie, man. You should watch it.
After
We
what
should
happened
start
to
a
Prince Philip
controversial
thing,
conversations movie, like controversial conversations cult.
After what happened in the Prince Philip incident, I don't think you'll be there to be a part of it, Shreyas.
Oh yeah, Shreyas, I think they're on to you, man. You got
Yeah,
cut
time
out
is
like
limited.
thrice, and the guy is dead now. I don't know what you're thinking, man. They're in a state of enragement.
Anyway,
Ghost is gonna drag me to
for
hell
the
today.
record, I wouldn't sleep in a room with a pentagram in it. I think
Says
you
the
guys
guy
are
who
either
sleeps in a room with a pentagram in it.
I think you guys are either sickos or you're not telling the truth. It's one of those two.
Or maybe we just don't believe enough.
Yeah, but it's still freaky. You don't have to believe in a horror movie to have it scare you a little bit.
Yeah, but
At least a good
see,
horror movie.
I wouldn't sleep if the guy was doing something with the pentagram and staring at the floor, looking at the pentagram with his hands in the air. Nah, that's too much for me. But a pentagram.
No,
See,
I'm
the
not even
hypothetical,
I'm not even
is that there's
saying.
this.
Look, I'm not saying the guy is in the room with you drawing a
Yeah,
pentagram or
that's what.
something.
Just the pentagram is not that freaky. I don't know. It just
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
seem
no, I
like-
know. I'm just saying the idea of of a person who's that deep into all of it, claiming that he has invited the demons and the devil into your house.
See,
It should
person
creep
with
you a little bit, is
strong
what I'm saying.
beliefs can a person with
Look,
strong
dude.
beliefs can make you believe something for sure. So
Yeah.
Look, dude, there is on my cupboard. There's a sticker of a Bollywood movie that I put years ago. If I can sleep with that in my room, I can sleep with a pentagram in my room.
Yeah,
so
that is terrifying.
That's a great note to end it on. Sleep with whatever you feel like.
As long as they consent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you for watching this
Uh,
episode of Controversial Conversation, guys. It feels good to be doing stuff past the 30-minute mark again.
That's fun,
And-
actually.
Yeah.
It gives us a bit of breathing room. Yeah.
Headroom. Because I'm all about that
And
headroom.
Prince Philip, if you're watching this, then I am very sorry. Please
We're
don't
talking to
kill me.
his members, his cult members, not him. He's dead.
He probably communicates with them. Come on.
Probably.
Are you disrespecting his spirit right now?
They communicate with him. That's how the Ouija board
sorry,
works.
Prince Philip.
Sorry, Prince Philip. If you want to kill someone, you can kill Rahul. But not me, please.
Alright, thank you for watching this episode, guys, and we'll see you next week.